We're really excited to be here today. I'm Holly Logan with the City of Richland. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you, if you haven't yet put your business card in the box in the back, we've got a fun gift basket that we're going to be raffling off at the end of our session today. Again, I'm the Communications and Marketing Manager at the City of Richland. So my focus is going to be a little bit more on the business best practices that we deal with on a daily basis at the City of Richland, and then also share some tools and resources that we use that we think will be relevant not only to organizations, but also to small businesses that you might be able to find as good tools.
I'm Cerise Peck, like they said, from the Richland Police Department. I'm going to give you a small glimpse into the dark world that I typically teach, but we're going to talk about reducing risk and who's watching you, what kind of voice are you using even between business and personal life, what you got going out there on the internet.
Awesome. And my name is Rika Robinson, and yes, I do the morning show on Power 99.1, but I'm a lot more than that. I am also a motivational speaker and a single girl's life coach, and we're going to be talking about social media and the personal side, how it's linked to depression, and I'll give you tips on how to diminish that.
Awesome. So we all are just going to kind of offer our perspective throughout each other's presentations today. So we hope to leave some time at the end for some questions. So feel free to ask us some of those at the end of the session anytime. So I wanted to start off with doing a survey or a poll, and I'm going to ask each of you to get your smartphones out. We're going to do a Slido poll. This is going to help give us a little bit of context of what we're doing with our audience. So if you can go to open a browser on your smartphone like Chrome, and up in the search bar, type in slido.com. So our first poll today is, of the following, please select the social media platform you use most in your job or business. Ooh, Facebook coming out quick.
Ooh.
Oh. Ooh, Tinder too.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I love it.
I love it.
This might be another session in the afternoon.
Yeah,
But
didn't schedule that one.
what? I had to throw that in there just to kind of be silly.
Right.
So, yeah, really strong on the Facebook, it looks like, and then LinkedIn and Instagram too, kind of coming in. I love how Tinder's like going up and then coming back down again. So that's great. It gives us a little bit of perspective. It's coincidentally, I will be focusing mostly on Facebook, a little bit of Instagram and LinkedIn, because that is really where the most of our audience is with communicating with our citizens on social media. So I'm going to switch on back here. Super cool. Okay, so I'm going to just get started real quickly and just give you an overview about the City of Richland and our team and what we do and how we communicate with our citizens. So this is my lovely communications team right here. There are 5 of us. They're awesome. I have 5 staff. I have Mike and Mark, the 2 gentlemen in the picture here. This was a picture from our holiday parties that we had, so I just had to show some of the fun that we have. So Mike is in the back right now. He and Mark are our cable communications team. And what you might not know is that the City of Richland has a franchise agreement with Charter Communications. And part of that agreement is we're contractually obligated to produce content to stream on their channels. We have Charter Cable Channel 192, if you ever want to, pull that up in your guide. If you're not a Charter customer, we also stream it all on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and on our website. And then we also have Gail. She's sitting over here, Gail somewhere, yay! She's our marketing specialist, and she's really responsible for doing a lot of the social media updates, managing our website content. She's assisting me with media and public relations, and she does a lot of our internal communications, our internal newsletter as well. And then right there in the middle is Miss Allison. She's our graphic designer. She's awesome, rounding out our team. And she's responsible for our brand. and also anything that goes out graphically, internally and externally within the city. One thing you might not know about the city of Richland is that we have 520 full-time staff. Give or take a dozen here or there depending on temporary and seasonal staff, but we have a really large team. And we have, what is considered kind of a full service agency. So we're unique compared to some of our other surrounding agencies in that not only do we have Parks and Recreation and our public safety and our streets and our water utilities, but we also have our own electric utility and solid waste utility too, so our own garbage collection and a public library. So our team supports 10 departments within the city. So it can get very complex because we're sharing several types of information with our citizens. With that, our audience is pretty defined. Our leadership has told us we want to target our citizens. That's our audience. So it may be a little bit different than what some of the business owners here have, where you're looking to broaden your audience, you're looking to gain more followers and get more engagement out there to sell your services and your business. But we focus really on our citizens and those who also work or shop or visit Richland. And also we want to share relevant information throughout our region. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about some of the tools and resources that we use. We do have 13 social media accounts at the city of Richland. And so that's a lot to manage. And I can't do it alone. I am ultimately responsible for all of our social media accounts, but we have several administrators, including Cerise on our police department and a couple of other ones that are here in the audience. And we do try to do as good a job as we can identifying our voice and our brand and how we want to convey the city to our citizens. And it can be daunting. One tool that we have that was just recently finalized is a social media policy. Does anybody else in here have a social media policy that they use within their companies? Or, yeah? Yeah, they're really important to have. Ours has been in the making for like 3 or 4 years. But it really helps protect the brand, your employees, your constituents, your elected officials, and help just provide them direction and set some parameters around social media usage. And it also allows us to enforce people with consequences if they operate outside of those parameters. We want to make sure that we're providing the right guidelines and direction so that we are using those social media platforms appropriately. As a government agency, we are required to retain the information that we share on social media, and we're subject to the Public Records Act, and so we need to make sure that we're doing everything as according to our policy. And so we worked really closely with our city attorney to get that passed, and that has been recently finalized. Another tool, yeah, and if you're interested in looking at some samples, I'm happy to share those with you after this, or you can follow up with me anytime about a successful social media policy. Another tool that we use is called Sprout Social. It's a social media management platform. You might have also heard of Hootsuite, and this really helps us. It's kind of a hub or a dashboard for us to sync all of our social media accounts to one dashboard. So we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And so we're able to see on this dashboard all of our accounts in real time. We're able to schedule posts, and we're able to make sure that we're sharing consistent messaging across all of those accounts. It's really become helpful when we're trying to share information about, for example, our snow and ice control policy and updates on that. We struggled with that last year. Anybody remember Snowmageddon 2019? I'd like to forget it. I still have PTSD about that. But, and also sharing consistent messaging about recruitment efforts or some of our larger campaigns or initiatives that we have going on. It provides analytics. It allows you to give access to other users and administrators within your organization who can be assigned to answer comments and questions. So it's been an interesting platform and something that's been worth the investment for us. Like I said, we've been really lucky to have Allison on board as our graphic designer. And one tool that we like to use, and I think is something that smaller businesses who don't have access to those resources should look into too, it's called Canva. It's an awesome graphics design platform. I think we pay $15 a month for it. You're able to upload your brand standards into it, and as well as your logos, and you have access to some stock photo, other elements. And templates. Yeah. Yeah, and you actually use that one too,
I actually
right?
use it. I don't pay for it.
Yeah, there is a free version.
Yeah. I'm a business of one right now. I have dreams of having 10 employees one day. But yeah, so I actually use it, and the free version is fine. I don't even know what the paid version gives, so it's like I haven't tasted the apple yet.
The paid version gives you access to more stock photos and more templates.
Right.
Yeah, so you have a little bit more option and variety. But again, most of our graphics design comes from Allison, but we do have some of our department admins who have access to this platform, and then she'll review kind of what they put together. So if you're a small business and you don't have access to this or other graphic support, you might consider doing this. Using this tool. Another tool we use is called Grammarly. It's a plugin that you can download from Chrome. It's free, and it kind of goes through any of your content and your copy that you've got going out there and notifies you if you have misspellings or improper grammar usage. I was telling these guys, ironically, when I was creating this presentation, I spelled Grammarly wrong. I spelled it ER, and so it helped fix that so I didn't look like a complete idiot. You can also, there is a paid version for it. I think it's an additional $10 a month that'll dive a little bit deeper into some of your grammar and word usage. But again, it's free, plug in on Chrome. That's something that you might consider looking into. It's been a good tool for us. So we use it for our social media. We also use it for our employee newsletter and some of our other media and press outreach. How are we doing on time, Taylor? Doing pretty good? Okay, sounds good. I'll just run through some of these statistics with you really quickly. I'm involved in government social media organization. Facebook recognized that they needed to support government and politics and advocacy groups a little bit more. So they have a new government branch of Facebook where we have a little bit more direct contact with a representative with Facebook, to where we actually get to speak to someone directly versus going through several different channels. So at our last conference, they shared with us some statistics. I was just going to let you guys know about them, and some ways that you can increase your engagement despite the algorithms that they continue to put out there. So there are 237 billion active users worldwide on Facebook, and 1.56 billion log in daily. That's an obscene amount. So if you think Facebook is kind of decreasing or not going much further, you're wrong. It's continuing to grow worldwide. Facebook also owns Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger. I think they also own Pinterest. And of those, 2 billion access these social media platforms daily. So just to give you some context, there's about 7.7 billion people in the world, I think, and only half of them actually have access to internet. So those who do have access to internet are on social media. Some of their biggest challenges, of course, are the data privacy violations, and they continue to hire more and more people. They told us last time specifically to kind of government, politics, and advocacy groups to work on security measures because people do abuse the ability and the access to these platforms. So a little bit more about an algorithm. It's just a formula for how Facebook decides which post users see. It's continuously evolving, but what they want is for people to spend time viewing content that is more meaningful and valuable to that specific user. You may have noticed over the course of the last year, some of your posts that you're putting on Facebook aren't getting the amount of engagement or views that they had in years past. And that's because they're changing the algorithms. In fact, at the end of 2019, there was a 2.2% decrease in your reach on Facebook. And that still only leaves only 5.5% of your posts on your feed are getting viewed by your followers. So what can you do to increase that engagement and exposure to followers? Video is a huge component of that with Facebook right now. You want to upload organic, fresh, new content versus sharing existing content. And you want to upload it directly to the platform versus sharing a YouTube link. And you really want to consider using Facebook Live. We've done it a few times. We have had some challenges with some of the sound and connectivity, but it's worked. But that will increase your reach by 6%. So consider using Facebook Live a little bit more. I know I've seen some of you guys doing that, but maybe consider doing that a little bit more. And then, like it or not, they want you to buy advertising. And so they're there to make money. It's too, you're going to see this on Instagram, you're going to see this on Facebook, LinkedIn. And so even if you will put $5 to boost a post, you can get more viewers. You can get more engagement. And you can also target the demographic with which you're sharing the information to. So also they love the Instagram stories and the Facebook stories. Start putting your information more into those stories. A lot of you are doing it, but really the newsfeed is not getting, with the algorithms, that much exposure as much as the stories are. So that was a quick little nugget. Just want to let you know I've identified a few companies that I think are doing really well when it comes to social media. In regards to small businesses, I want to give a shout out to Lucky Flowers. I don't know if Melissa is in here, but Melissa has done a really good job of knowing her customer, knowing her audience. Very relatable post on Instagram, also doing Instagram stories. If you want to, she's at about 9,900 followers on Instagram. Maybe think about following her today and boosting her over that 10,000 follower mark. But she's also on Facebook, relatable content, posting her events, consistent content, and she's getting great reviews. So on a government organization or higher ed, I wanted to give a shout out to CBC. They've recently, Columbia Basin College, for those that may not know, they recently refreshed their brand. They've done a really good job of identifying their audience of existing students, prospective students, alumni, and especially community, and highlighting their community involvement. They have the right balance of topics related to students, programs, education. So check out some of the stuff that they're doing at CBC. And then in regards to a large organization and a contractor, I just wanted to give a shout out to Mission Support Alliance. You know, they're representing multiple contractors. Hanford cleanup is not necessarily the most sexy topic we can talk about. And so they really focus and put a lot of emphasis on their community involvement. Oh my gosh, they're so involved in the community. They volunteer in so many things. And they also are doing a good job of recognizing individual employees and things that they are doing in their real life that help add to the culture of MSA. So with that, thank you for your time. I'm going to pass it over to my friend, Cerise.
Thank you.
Yay!
Okay, so we're going to go back to Slido, please, if you would like to humor us with another survey or poll here. How would you rate your knowledge of social media platforms as it relates to your personal use? Very savvy, enough to post and like, or I need a teen to help me. All right.
So kind of middle of the road?
Yeah, kind of middle of the road. I love seeing that you know enough to like and post. You probably will reconsider when I'm done in my 10 minutes or 15 minutes how much you investigate the social media platforms that you're using.
We good?
Yeah, we're good. We'll go ahead and
Let's do this.
roll it. All right. So my name is Therese Peck. I work for the Richland Police Department. I represent the City of Richland and the Richland Police Department on social media. Holly talked a lot about business practices and how the city of Richland has been really successful with platforms that Holly runs. I'm going to talk a little bit about further than the business. So I work for the police department, I work for the city, but I represent not only the city, I represent my family, I represent my friends, I represent the ICAC task force that I talk for. What I want you to pay attention in my 10 minutes, 15 minutes is, what voice are you representing? When we talk about the path that we're paving and what we're doing moving forward, what are you going to leave with that path? So I always use my own pictures, because why not? Everybody in here pretty much knows I have a cheerleader anyways. Everybody knows where I work. So up here, I have some photos. There's my coworkers. I represent them when I post on social media. On my personal social media, whether it's my personal page or not, my voice still represents those men and women in uniform, and I take it very seriously. I have community partners, so that's Desiree Reynolds from SARC. Her and I met up for some blue candles in a parking lot one day, and we snapped a picture in the wind. When I post on social media, I am representing the community partners that I have those connections with through my work, but also through personal life. And then I'm representing my family when I post on social media. So if I take a picture of my daughter and I put it on social media, everybody that sees that Instagram or that Facebook knows that I have a daughter who's a cheerleader. I also have a son, but I don't talk about him very much, so no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I just had to use the cheerleader because it's for the rest of the story. So when you're posting on Facebook, the information you're sharing, are you okay with that persona and that representation going out to the world? Are you putting, a funny meme that might be funny to me and Holly, but it might not be funny for everybody? So you have to pay attention to what you're memorializing when you're using your social media, because we are paving the path not only for our business, but for people that are coming behind us. And are you unwillingly oversharing? Yeah, even I am guilty of this. I will tell you a story really quickly at the end that will definitely make you check your phone before you go to sleep at night, I promise. So we're going to go with the cheerleader, because that's the easy one. Who's watching what you're posting? Your coworkers are watching, your friends, your family, but there's other people that are watching you guys, I promise. There's family members are watching, but there's strangers out there too. So how many of you, you don't raise your hand please, but there's people on your Facebook that you're like, meh, I got 10, 20 connections with them, probably a good business connection, I'll go ahead and add them. Well, I don't know, who that person is exactly, but I know 20 of their friends, so it's probably a safe ad. Let me walk you through a little bit, and I teach internet crimes against children, so that's my subject matter that I'm most expert about, so I'm going to use that. So there's my daughter, she cheers for force. I put a lot of pictures of her on Facebook. My page is private for that reason. I protect my child. I don't put a lot of her information on Instagram. My kids are not allowed to have social media. That's a completely different 90 minutes that I will stand on my soapbox, but my kids don't have social media, so any pictures that get shared of them are on my page. So if you're familiar with social media, whether you're using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can search using hashtags. And to get these screenshots for you, I searched #InstaCheer. I belong to a really large cheer gym. We have a lot of young ladies that use Instagram, and InstaCheer is a really popular hashtag. If anybody has seen the Netflix show Cheer,
Yes.
That is my life, but it is a real deal, folks. It is widely popular, and now it's gaining a lot more traction. So these posts are gaining a lot more traction on Instagram, especially, and TikTok. So I used Instagram too because I feel like everybody in here would probably be a little bit more familiar with that platform than TikTok. I didn't want to drag you down the TikTok rabbit hole this early in the morning. So #InstaCheer has 113,000 followers. There's 113,000 followers on Instagram that follow this hashtag. The gentleman in the bottom corner happens to be one of them. So under InstaCheer, #InstaCheer, I scrolled down and I found this cute little blonde girl who reminds me of my cute little blonde girl. Her page is not private. This photo, which is under that hashtag, has 1,190 likes. So I thought, okay, there's 1,100, 1,200 people that like this picture. Let's see who's liking this picture. Let's see who's following this child. I went to her page, Hayley Smith Official. So she's obviously, her parents or somebody is managing a page for her. She's a young cheerleader. She's a model. They're making money off of this. She's got almost 32,000 followers. I would imagine this child is maybe 6, 7 years old. So on her page, I scrolled down until I found the far picture with the Tiffany's, and I was like, well, I like Tiffany's. Let's see what's going on here. Found this picture that has 1,300 likes, and I asked myself, because oftentimes in the middle of the night as I'm going down the rabbit hole, I'm like, let's see who likes this young lady's picture. So it took me about 2 seconds to find this gentleman who has an Instagram account. He has 0 posts on his Instagram account. He's got 1,400 followers, but better yet, he's got almost 7,500 people that he's following. When you look at who he's following, we find the first one, who is Amelia. She is a young actor. She lives in China, it would appear, and these are the type of people that are using these open accounts to follow these young individuals. There's no reason for somebody to have an Instagram account and to be following minor girls if they're not posting, if they're adding nothing of value to the social media.
Yeah.
Another girl that he's following happens to be this young lady. She also has a TikTok account that she's advertising, so I guarantee that he is also following her on TikTok. So when I say, what are you putting out into the world, what are you exposing your kids to as well? It doesn't just, this is just one example of how easy it is for somebody to obtain information, to follow, to get access to what they're looking for. That was really, really easy. This took me literally 3 minutes on a Tuesday morning, and I threw them together and threw them into a slide. But how are you keeping that balance? Knowing that this is out there, and it's not just kids, you guys. I had somebody text me one day, and Holly and I laugh about this story because I do stupid stuff sometimes. I had somebody text me. He was like, hey, Michelle, did you still want that picture? And I was like, well, this ain't Michelle, but what you got going on there? You know, just kind of being smart. And we texted back and forth, you know, nothing inappropriate or anything like that, but I was being flippant and kind of funny. And I texted her and I was like, hey, look at this, send her a screenshot. I got this dude that's texting me. This is kind of funny that, you know, he mistakenly texted me and now it's, you know, divine intervention is my next husband or whatever. She's like, well, do you have a photo? And I was like, oh, I'll get you a photo. So he sends me a picture. I send it to her and we're laughing back and forth. Well, he asked me if I would meet up with him, and I'm not that stupid. So I said, no, I'm not going to meet up with you. I don't know you. And he refused to tell me anything about him. And so finally, because I pressured him and interrogated and maybe made some side comment threats, he said, well, okay, I'm not really who I say I am. I got your phone number off of Facebook. I thought you're cute, and I texted you. And I said, BS, my number's not on Facebook. I am not that dumb. And he's like, yeah, it is. And so I pulled up my Facebook account. Facebook had ran a privacy update, didn't tell anybody that they published all our phone numbers. So all of the followers on my Facebook account, I suddenly had this sinking feeling of, what just happened? I don't know who this individual is. I still don't know who this individual is. But this person who decided that they were going to be untruthful and text me has seen my kids. They've seen where I work. They've seen my friends. They've seen my family. And so I quickly went through and deleted anybody that I did not literally know. And it doesn't mean that it's still not one of my friends on Facebook. Yeah. But you got to check your privacy settings regularly because that kind of stuff happens all the time. You'll upgrade your app and your number will be published. I see you guys pulling out your phones right now. You're like, it's my number. So what you put out there, you have to know can be seen by just about anybody. And if you're not cognitive of the message of the persona that you are using, I would be in deep water if Holly got a picture of me doing something inappropriate and it was, I'm representing a department, I'm representing my friends, I'm representing my family, and most importantly, I'm representing my daughter. And I don't ever want her to look back and see an opportunity where I let her down and where I didn't represent her as a parent, as a woman, as a leader, and I misrepresented her on social media.
And safety is of the utmost important. And I think what she's getting at too is with social media, the more you're out there, the more vulnerable you are. And so it's a good reminder for all of us to check not only our own privacy settings through all of our accounts, but be very, very aware of any of your kids who are on social media, and on a regular basis check and make sure that they're not public and out there for anyone to see and find out information about them.
So if you want to find out more about the kids online, you know I'll stand up here forever, but we're going to turn it over to Rika because she's got an amazing message, and we really appreciate you guys sitting through this and your time today.
Yep. So thank you, Cerise. Thank you. How many of you are checking Facebook right now? Because you're like, is my phone number up there? So we'll keep out your phones because we're going to do another Slido survey or whatever. There you go. When do you first access your social media on most days? I see it.
I had to reword this because originally I think I had something like, upon waking.
When do you?
When you awake from your slumber.
It's like, why is it the King's English? What's happening? All right, so once I get through, okay. All right, so once I get through this, you may want to change your mind, okay? All right, so just so you know, I'm going to talk about how social media is linked to depression, but I want you to also know some of depression is self-imposed, but some of it is not. So if you feel that you need to talk to somebody, you need a counselor, please do that. I am not that. I will give you tips on how, yes, I did fall into a rabbit hole because of social media, and I was sad about my life, and oh, woe is me. But I was able to fix that with these tips that I'm going to give you. So again, I'm not your doctor, but I can give you some tips that helped me, okay? So what path are we paving? That's what we are talking about today, right? And specifically about social media. I want you to pave a path on social media that is conscious, okay? I want you to do things on purpose, as Oprah says, with intention, okay? And not doing it unconsciously. And so I'm going to tell you a personal story about what happened to me with social media about 6 years ago, okay? So this is before I actually knew that you could literally design your life, like literally make decisions for you to live a happier life. Before I actually knew that you could live consciously instead of unconsciously. Before I actually knew that there were links to depression and social media, guess what I used to do? I used to wake up and scroll. Wake up and scroll, wake up and scroll. And I used to check my Instagram, what y'all doing? I mean, literally before the sleep was wiped out of my eye, okay? And I'm gonna walk down here. If I accidentally fall, it was on purpose. It's part of the show. I did pinch a sciatic nerve. It's doing better today, so I'm like, okay, I'm wearing heels. I think I got this. But if you see me later in my slides.
Yeah, you made it in your heels today, Rika.
I did. I made it. So this is what I used to do. About 6 years ago is when I moved here to Tri-Cities. I'm 36. I was 30 back then. Just a fun fact, I was born here, but I grew up in Seattle, right? So anyway, I used to scroll, and back then, Instagram was getting really popular. I was on Instagram. I took the job here to be the morning show host on Power 99.1, and that's the thing they tell us to do. You gotta be on social media. You gotta be putting yourself out there. You're a radio personality. Show your personality. Okay, cool. So the hashtag relationship goals was really popular back then. It's still kind of popular, but I was following everybody. Every celebrity, every person, everybody. How many single people are in here? Any single people? Okay, a few. So when I was following those people, a lot of people that I was following was married, having kids, getting engaged, especially around Christmas time. That's when you see all the engagements. New Year's, everybody is getting married and everybody is having babies, and my life in real life was just like that as well. So again, then, I'm 36 now, then I was 30, not married, still not married, don't have any kids, and single. So when I was 30, I started to look at social media and think, oh my God, something's wrong with me. Oh my God, everybody's getting married. Oh my God, everybody's having kids. I'm 30, I didn't make the goal. Oh my God, when my mom got married to my dad, she was 22, and then I'm behind. I'm behind. Because society tells us as women, honey, the goal in life is get married and start popping out them babies. And I wasn't there. And that made me feel like I gotta hurry up. So I was dating and dated any guy that picked me. Yeah, I got picked. Let's date. And that actually led me to an abusive relationship. Because again, who I was following and scrolling and looking at in the morning made me feel bad about myself. Okay? My teacher, so I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. And yeah, I'm a bison. And one of my teachers, my major was TV production, and he said, listen, images are powerful. Images control the self-esteem of the masses, and that means you. So what are you looking at every day that subconsciously is telling you, you didn't make it, you're overweight, You don't have the right job. She has a Louis Vuitton bag, you don't. I'm serious. Like, we think, oh, I'm just looking at pictures. But for some reason, that's the way God made us. The human body. Images are powerful, okay? So what was happening, instead of, like I said, this is before I knew that you could design your life. So instead, I was trying to follow the herd because we're sheep. We're unconsciously, subconsciously, we're sheep. So I'm trying to follow you guys. I'm trying to get married, and I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't working out for me. And I was being abused because of that. But then got out of that relationship, and I started thinking about the images and what I was watching, and I actually started thinking about, wait a minute, I don't feel bad about being single. Thank God I don't have 5 kids. No knock on anybody who does, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying for me, no. I have a pit bull. I love my dog, okay? So what was happening was what is called solitude deprivation, and I'm actually going to read you this quote by Cal Newport. And actually, in the box, before you leave, don't forget, we're going to do our drawing. You'll win this book. It's called Digital Minimalism. And I want to read you his quote. I couldn't memorize it, sorry. So Cal Newport says, there is a thing called solitude deprivation. So what happens if you never give yourself any time alone with your own thoughts? It's just you and your thoughts alone. You're bored, you're looking at the world around you, but you're not looking at input that was created by another person. Research shows anxiety really jumps up when you start banishing time alone with your thoughts. It short circuits the brain. So what happens is you get anxious. I think in this culture we have this background hum of anxiety that we've just become used to. Like, yeah, you just kind of always feel anxious. But a lot of it is because we've short-circuited our brain. Because this brain, the brain God gave us, was not meant to be processing input from other people all day long, and that's what we're doing. You wake up and scroll. What does the world tell me to think today? That's not what our brain evolved for, so it's crossing some wires up in here. We're getting frazzled, a little anxious, and we don't realize it's probably self-imposed, okay? So let me ask you this. Raise your hand if you're a human. Okay, good. No sheep in here? No elephant? Okay. I just wanted to make sure because this survey was done on humans, okay? So you're not exempt from this. Just because you weren't in the survey doesn't mean this does not apply to you, okay? 20,000 people surveyed. Of that 20,000, 54%, that's over half, says that they feel like no one knows them well. They don't know them well. And then 56% reported sometimes or always feeling like people they were like surrounded with, they didn't necessarily like know them, they couldn't relate to them, they felt lonely. See, what happens is psychologists got curious about social media. Since it made the world smaller, does that mean we're connecting more? And, you know, we're not. We're just laughing at memes, liking pictures. But for me, what it did is it made me feel very alone. Because again, everybody else was married and having kids, and not me. So I tell you all this because I want you to be aware of social media's impact on your mental health. It matters. I know you're just like, it's just pictures now. It's not. So maybe you don't need to be following a lot of the people you're following, especially if you don't know them, because again, images will control your self-esteem more than you know. More than you know, okay? So this is what I did. I kind of was like Cerise. No, I was like Cerise. This is how I helped myself. So on your friend page on Facebook, you can have 5,000 friends. That's the max. I had almost 5,000 friends. Because I'm a radio personality, so everybody wants to be my friend, so I'm like, yep, friending everybody. But then that election happened, and all the negativity happened, and all of that, and I was like, whoa, what is that? What is happening? And all of these negative statuses, and all of this negative, and I'm just not naturally a negative person, so what I did, I started deleting. Don't know you, don't know you, don't know you, don't know you. And so now I'm about maybe 1,800. I still got more to go. Because I'm still like, sometimes when somebody comments, I'm like, who is this? Like, who is this person?
You're like, how did you slip through the cracks?
How did you slip through the cracks? What's happening? So this is what I do. I have like 30 notifications right now for friend requests. Because this is what happens. Like, you'll see me, and this is no knock to anybody in here who would do it. You'll get home and you'll say, oh, I saw Rika talk, let me friend her. I will not add you. I don't know you. And it's not a knock on you again, I just don't know you. So what I do is I send them this message, letting them know, hey, I got a like page, go over there. But if you have a question, let me know. And I've cultivated this over the couple of years because it used to come off very mean. Now I feel like this is a little bit more professional. And I did have one girl be like, so I can't be your friend on here? Nope. Who are you? That would literally be like this. Like, when people friend request people, it's so weird because I'm like, you don't send me a message. It'd be like if I was in Target, say I don't know you, I know you. But I was in Target and I just went like this, hey! And just kept walking. You'd be like, Shannon would be like, who was that? But that's what we do on Facebook and Instagram. Like, oh, I saw her one time at a store, let me add her. Who are you? Who are you? So again, this is no knock on you, okay? Also this, where am I on time? Okay. Also this, don't let people suck you into a debate about a topic in which you're neither interested nor well-versed. That's one of my, you were talking about your policies, Holly. So this literally happened like 2 weeks ago. I posted this nice post and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to McLaughlin Middle School. I'm going to speak about Martin Luther King. My ancestors would be proud of me. I'm so happy that I'm allowed to do this because back then it'd be illegal. All these nice things about Martin Luther King. Look what she said. As a Christian, does that bother you that he had a mistress and he was cheating on his wife? Who are you? Who are you? So I did not respond, and actually one of my friends did, and very nicely cussed her out without cuss words. I'm just like, okay, he did okay. But I'm still happy that Martin Luther King existed. I would not be able to be up here in front of you if he didn't. So why do I want to be in that conversation? I'm cool, you know? So the bottom line is, the more you use and take stock in social media, the more you are actually hurting yourself. Who are you following? What are you liking? If you're trying to lose weight, maybe you don't need to follow the models who are size 2. I literally, the only people I follow are people I know and Oprah. Oh, and Beyonce. That's it. If I don't know you, if you're not somebody who's positive, I literally, and then I focus on following people like Tracy Ellis Ross, who's 50, not married, doesn't have kids. I focus on the women who are doing things that I want to do and who are like me, so I can feel okay with myself. We have to do that, unfortunately. We have to. It's part of the human condition. So, here are some tips, okay? Give yourself time. For those of you who said you look at your phone first thing in the morning, who was it? Raise your hand. Put that phone down. For me, my phone, if you have an iPhone, I'm sure on Android, you have Do Not Disturb. My phone goes off at 7 p.m. I get up at 4:30, so it's, ooh, Jesus. Y'all pray for me every morning because it is not easy. Anyway, my phone goes off at 7, and then I will not hear a ding or a ring until 5:30 in the morning. So I've already had a whole hour to myself. What do I think about today? Today gonna be a good day. Yep, 75 and sunny. Set boundaries. Have business hours. So I have business hours around my social media. Protect your privacy, just like Cerise was talking about. Cultivate who you follow. I know you feel bad, like, oh, I'm gonna unfriend them. Why do you feel bad? Who made the rules of social media? Who made those rules? You can make your own rules and avoid ignorance. If you're like, you know what, I did not wake up on this Wednesday morning to argue about Martin Luther King, I'm not gonna have that conversation. Don't have it. You don't have to. So those are your tips to get through social media and to diminish the link that social media has to depression. It's real. Again, are you a human? Those are the tests they did. They did them on humans. Yay.
Thank you, Judy.
Good job, guys.